Hello to you all. This is the third part of my first book, Runs in the Family. And in the first two videos, this is the third, we talked about the importance of mental health, the importance of this in emotional intelligence, and ways of raising levels of emotional intelligence in your family, in your home, in yourself. And in the last or in the second video, we talked about ways of promoting mental health in a family setting, looking at what we eat and the actual process of eating healthy foods together, how good that is for young people developing emotional intelligence. A lot of research shows that young people that have meals as a family at least 5 times a week, they are fitter, they're healthier, they're less likely to go into drugs, they're stronger emotionally, as well as doing better in schools and exams. And in this section, we're going to start from chapter 7. Chapter 7, keeping your word. So I'm just going to start from reading chapter 7. Please, before you listen to this video, it's worth listening to the beginning of the book in the first two videos from chapters 1 to 6. So chapter 7, keeping your word. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. We have taken the first courageous steps in improving our child's emotional intelligence and used our child's behavior as a reflection of what's been missing and supply what's needed to improve our relationship. In this chapter, we're going to take things one step further and look at ways of reclaiming the power that we've always had and inadvertently given away. Now that we've had a look at the rules that you and your family can put in place, the next step is to apply each rule consistently, allowing rewards and sanctions. So using a reward and a sanction chart, there are plenty of rewards and sanction charts on the website. Check out empoweringparents.com, amongst others. You'll find the charts that you can modify and apply to your own circumstance and life, including charts for doing homework, household chores, and morning sequencing to get ready for school so your child learns through repetition each day. The objective of these charts is that ultimately your child will learn what to do, what is needed of them without prompting or reminding. Put them up in your kitchen or public area and tick them off with your children. See their joy and sense of accomplishment when they see the good progress they've made. And also, similarly, listen to them when they don't follow their charts and find out why. At the same time, be consistent with the punishments for not following your instructions. It's also important to think of sanctions and praises and stick to them also. I've taught many young people, and I've seen the impact of some punishment and rewards they've had. One young man, 14-year-old Stevie, was doing really well in my lessons. He started my class and, it was disruptive. This was hiding a lack of belief in himself that he could do well in science. Fast forward one term, he came first in his exams and continued to do well. His poor behavior had transformed into interest and engagement. I gave him a letter praising him for the work he'd done, and proudly he took it home and showed his parents. And the next lesson, he returned beaming from ear to ear. And he said, Miss, thank you for your letter. My parents couldn't believe that I'd improved so much that they've paid for me to go to Florida this summer. I've always wanted to go there. This is an example of a reward that really made a difference. Maybe you can't afford family holidays to Florida, but there's always some kind of reward to use as a form of acknowledgement or praise. I've seen parents treat their son or daughter to an event they wanted to go to, a football match, going out for the day to the beach, as well as spending 15 minutes being with them or playing with them or spending time in the afternoon having fun with them, finding more about their dreams for their futures. Alternatively, for sanctions, there have been a variety of things that I've seen. And ones that are the most effective are the ones where parents take things away and ground their child, taking away their phones, that's if they have mobile phones, removing access to computers, and not allowing them to go out and socialize with their friends for a week or two. When parents have put these types of sanctions in place, I've seen a marked change in the young person as they work hard to reestablish trust and get their stuff back. There's other types of sanctions that aren't effective and that are physically and mentally harmful, such as screaming at or hitting the child. Whatever sanctions or rewards you put in place, consistency is the key. You're showing your child what is reflected in the world, that good work is rewarded, and breaking rules comes with punishment. In showing them this, it is more likely that when they're adults, that they will regard the rules, not break them in the first place. Or if they do break them, then at least they won't try and get away with the punishments and fines put in place. We all know that trying to avoid paying fines in society just doesn't work. And we always have to pay more in the end. You can find examples of sanctions that are tried and tested on empoweringparents.com. You know your child well enough to know what they'll respond to. I can't overestimate or emphasize the importance of consistency. There are times when, as a teacher, I didn't want to apply a sanction and I did it anyway. And other times when I didn't apply a sanction and looking back, I wish I had. It's all a learning curve. When I stepped over an incident, the young person thought that they can get away with something else. So sooner or later, I had to apply a sanction and speak with them about the impact of their behavior. The impact of poor behavior is an important place to look for when applying sanctions. If a young person misbehaves, it wouldn't work to blame them for their behavior, as this reduces their self-esteem and they continue behaving the same way to get negative attention in the belief that this is the only way they can receive it. When a young person misbehaves, we must look at the impact of their behavior. What has happened as a result of their misbehavior, because this focus is what develops their emotional intelligence and also their sense of responsibility, critical qualities for success in their lives for now and their future. One of our young people, 12-year-old Jenny, was excluded from school for fighting. She refused to interact with anyone and stayed in her room watching movies, for which she had a great passion. She would regularly disrupt her household by running out of the house without asking, resulting in the police bringing her back home in the small hours of the morning. Understandably, her parents were run ragged. This happened regularly every 2 to 3 weeks. I started to support Jenny, showing her how to manage her moods. Jenny would speak regularly about how she was feeling and spoke about how she could change her mood or energy, especially if she was feeling low. I would invite her to look at the impact of her behavior on her family, the lack of sleep, the worry, the concern, the disruption. This wasn't to blame Jenny, only her behavior. When Jenny started evaluating her behavior more, the times that she would cause disruptions came fewer and farther between. Eventually, Jenny started evaluating her behavior without being asked to do so. And her family was happy because before we gave them our support, Jenny wasn't doing this. Jenny is now back in comprehensive school after 2 years out of mainstream education, studying for her GCSEs, and continues to manage her moods every day. Continuing enforcing your rules, being consistent with sanctions and rewards for 2 weeks, and monitoring the changes each day in your journal. In addition, continue evaluating your mood and the mood of your child, and get used to speaking about your emotions to shift your energy and emotional state to your advantage. Sticking to the plan. There are many times when I was teaching that I regularly evaluated myself and my behavior, and I learned that being consistent was the key. Never tell a child one thing, then do another. However, if we have to do that, we clean up the mess that we've made by looking at the impact. One time, I was carrying out a heart dissection with my year eights. They were so excited. Due to a problem with our lamb hearts, the technicians couldn't defrost them in time for our lesson. I decided to postpone the heart dissection before the next lesson and focus on some theory of the heart to prepare the students. My students ran to my class all excited. Miss, we're doing a heart dissection today. To which I responded, I'm sorry. I decided that it's best that we focus a little more on the structure of the heart today, and we'll do our dissection next lesson. They weren't very impressed. One of the students replied, see how you are. Well, I was surprised to say the least. I always planned well and marked my lessons immediately, immediately after exams and homework, as I found it fostered greater enjoyment and engagement. And this one time, this student was pulling me up on what I'd done. We say that talk is cheap, but really it's us that cheapens talk by saying and making promises and then not following through. And when we do this with children, we're showing them that promises don't matter. We're also building up a distance between us emotionally as they see that we're not someone that they can count on. When you promise to do something for your child, you acknowledge that promise and you do what you said that you would do. You don't decide to do it because something came up and you weren't in the mood. In this case, it's not about our mood. It's about being consistent. We wouldn't want our child to say, I'm not going to school today because I'm not in the mood. When we look outside of ourselves and we follow through on the promises we make to young people, we see that they look to us as someone to be counted on, someone trustworthy. Also, we are modeling behavior for them to follow as an example. Planning reduces chaos. How can we stop reacting to circumstances and take control of them? All children like structure and discipline. And even if we say we don't, we all do. Doing nothing breeds boredom, which inhibits development and progress. Speak with your child and write down the plan. For example, if it's football they love, then support them in joining the football team and make sure that they're going every week. The same thing applies to you. Are you doing something that you enjoy on a weekly basis? Overlooking yourself just doesn't work, as it means that you're not growing. Sooner or later, you'll get resentful. And then when you operate from this emotion, your children will hook you easily. And then before you know it, you're back to square one. Make sure you have a minimum of 15 minutes for yourself each day. Time alone for you to do what you really want to do, whatever it is. For example, praying, reading, walking, doing nothing, your favorite hobby, or a mixture of all that has been mentioned. It's really important that you feed and strengthen yourself emotionally. Make sure that each one of you has at least one activity a week and place it in your calendar. I find an academic year at a glance calendar works well, as everyone can see it. It's massive. It's an A2 side. You can even find them in the pound shops. Put it in a communal area like the kitchen, so everyone can see each other's schedule and know what's happening. Each family member can put their activities on the calendar. Most of these calendars have colored stickers that you can color code, one for each family member, if you like using them. Alternatively, write down the activities of a board pen that comes with it and make sure that everyone has a balance of activities. Also, make sure that some of you have the same amount of activities as your child. If they have one football or one dance class a week, make sure you've organized something for yourself also. Take them off as you go through the week. In the next chapter, we'll look at how we can maximize our well-being and health by putting structures in place. Chapter 8, Onward and Upward. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. Marianne Williamson. Putting it all together. In this chapter, we will look at all of the things that could get in the way of us achieving our goals and what we can do that will enable us to achieve our goals. We will look at how to strengthen ourselves physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Emotional motivation. It can be relatively easy to engage in a new behavior when all is well. But when the going gets tough or we have a bad day, it's easy to revert to difficult behaviors, the old ones we've got used to, and find ourselves back to square one. The good thing about these rough times is that there's a breakthrough just round the corner. We just need to get back onto that horse and keep going. Having a goal or aim that really inspires you. What is your motivation for all of this? Why did you decide that this journey would be a good idea for you? Is it that you want to be a better role model for your children than you felt your parents were for you? Perhaps it's that you know that there's mental illness in your family and you wish to prepare your family with the tools they need to overcome it. Or maybe you want to leave a legacy for your family for the following generations. You need to think of why you're doing this. Write it down and put it somewhere where it's easier to see to remind you of why you're doing this. Believe me, you'll have bad days and that's normal. It's important in these times to think of why you're doing this and the subsequent impact on your life and the lives of your children. Finally, does your purpose inspire you? The most important thing is that you inspire yourself. Having friends that inspire you. What about the network of friends you have around you? Do they inspire you? Can you relate to them? Or is it a one-sided conversation with them that relies on you to keep it going? This is something to take a look at with each friend and relationship. Check out the mood meter to see how they're making you feel after you've been with them or after you've spoken with them. What we really want are friends that leave us in a positive mood, as these are the friends that will support us in those difficult times. Be careful of being around friends that leave you in a negative mood, or even worse, in a negative mood with negative energy. That's not cool. And that's not the feeling and mood that you want to take to your family. I would suggest decreasing the amount of contact with friends that give you negative feeling and energy. You're not a dustbin, and these emotions will stop you from growing emotionally. I'm not saying that you tell them, sorry, I don't want to have a friendship with you because you bring me down. No, no, no. We need to be wise and prudent at all times, and you'll find yourself busy with other things and you will find yourself busy with other things and make your apologies, and in time they will find someone else to focus on. Are you addicted to having these kind of relationships? Do you feel that supporting someone who drains your energy gives you more self-worth? Well, you need to stop doing this, as it's not helping you and is not helping them. They need to develop their own skills and grow emotionally rather than dumping on you. And you have to set your own goal to be a model for your children. It doesn't work for your children to see or be around this type of behavior. Having a partner that really inspires you. We haven't spoken much about your partner in this book, as it's essentially about you. It's essentially about you and your child. The two of you are modeling relationships for your child. So ask yourself, does your partner inspire you? What is it that's inspiring about them? Is there anything that's missing from them, in your opinion? Is it really them, or is it something about yourself? For example, if you think to yourself, you're not strict enough, is it really that you're too strict? Have you spoken with each other so you have the same discipline, strategy, and beliefs? Are there any grey areas? If so, please get all of those ironed out. Communication is the key to loving and close relationships. And when you speak with them about something that's missing, try not to blame them. After all, when you do that to anyone, they'll be backed into a corner and they'll come out fighting. Blaming you too. You look at yourself in that area too and talk about how this situation is occurring for you. Too often, you'll speak about something like it's the truth, when really it's just looking that way to us. If you find the two of you are seeing the same situation from two different perspectives, then this is worth discussing to help each other see each other's point of view. Physical motivation. Earlier in this book, we looked at the importance of mild exercise and healthy eating habits on our well-being and mood. Why should we continue this behavior and how? Think back to the goal or objective you established that gave you emotional motivation. What was it? If you decided that you wanted to model important behavior to enable your child to manage their moods and well-being forever, then an important part of this is managing physical health. For all of our systems to work, we and our children need a minimum of 40 minutes to an hour of moderate physical exercise every day. I know a family that transformed things for their child by buying him a massive trampoline. And every day after school, he would spend at least 30 or 40 minutes jumping on it. He found that it helped him eliminate the day's stresses, so he was able to be with his family than doing his homework. What systems can you put in place that work for the whole of the family? Having playtime after school for the whole family was a great advantage for all to minimize the day's stresses. However, you must choose something that you like and enjoy. Is it walking, cycling, running, hiking, dancing, roller skating, ice skating, walking a pet? Find out what you all enjoy and develop a routine. This togetherness could also be incorporated as you develop your meal times, allowing your family to choose meals together and prepare them together. This may be a little difficult at first, but keep at it and increase the number of times a week you eat meals together. Young people love speaking about themselves and quite often don't have an opportunity to talk. In the UK, parents are encouraged to work all hours to provide for their families and sometimes don't have the energy nor the time to listen to their child. When I was a teacher, I spoke with many young people who couldn't or wouldn't talk to their parents just because they didn't want to burden them or worry them. This is common. Young people often don't want to confide in their parents if they think their parents will find what they have to say upsetting. So they tend to keep things inside. We need to overcome this and let young people speak to help them find the answers to their difficulties and overcome their solutions. Spiritual motivation. What do I mean by spiritual motivation? I've spoken about the physical and emotional things you can do to transform your living situation and your lives to decrease the possibility of you and your child becoming stressed, anxious, or depressed. We have spoken about a blame culture, and it's no wonder you were this way before. It's normal to blame everyone for our problems, including God. However, we now know that when we do this, we can't move on with our lives as we then judge that our lives are this way because of something or someone out there and nothing to do with us. And there is nothing that we can do about that. The moment we look from a different perspective and we see what we could have done differently, we see that we suddenly have new opportunities and pathways that we can take to achieve things that we only dreamed of in the past. We can stop making our lives into a soap opera where we are the superhero and everyone else is a villain. We can start looking at what we can contribute to each of these situations. It's also the same in our spiritual lives. We pray to God for something and then wonder why we don't get it when we go around blaming everyone and him for our lives. If you have suffered a tragedy, such as a death, for example, blaming God may be your way of coping and surviving from day to day. However, this doesn't bring us happiness or joy. Anger simply gets in the way of dealing with our real feelings, those feelings that, when overcome, brings us into new actions and purpose in our lives. I realized that I'd actually turned my back on God way before I started experiencing challenging moments in my life. However, I thought that it was he who turned his back on me. And when I saw the truth, I felt a rush of relief flow through my body, a new hope for the future instead of feelings of bitterness, helplessness, and regret. When we're in a difficult situation and we don't know how we're going to get through them, we turn to things or people for support because that's what we're used to doing to get results. But sometimes sometimes alcohol or excessive shopping, just to give a couple of examples, can't get us through the most difficult things. And for the most times, we need something more, something that's bigger and more powerful than the everyday people and things that support and guide us. Asking God for his support, guidance, and strength and power will help accelerate all of the things that you said you wanted family life to be like, and more, facilitating a depth and love in your relationship and the closeness in your family. How do you do this? There are two things that you can do today that will make a marked difference. First, use 5 minutes of your 15 minutes personal time, explained in the last chapter, to pray for all the things you want to achieve, your dreams for your family and yourself. Start with 1 or 2 minutes, thanking God for the things you have, the things that are going well in your life. This can be your health or the health of your family, how your children are improving in school. Just notice every little thing you can. Speak out loud as if you're speaking with your best friend. And after you've thanked him for all of those things you have and people that are around you, pray for what you need from him. For it to be an intelligent prayer, a prayer that God will listen to, you need to explain things in detail. Rather than saying, for example, God, I want to have lots of money, try, Lord, I really do need more money. And I'd like to go up to those book writing classes to develop my creativity. And when my children see that I'm studying, it will really encourage them in their subjects and at school too. Or I would really like to have more money so Johnny can go to those guitar lessons and Jessica can go to her dancing lessons, because going to these lessons will really help them develop themselves emotionally as well as increasing their development skills. And I really want them to grow up to be balanced young adults. Specific prayers and reflections like this will go a long way. Asking for strength will get you through those difficult days and times when you'll feel at your lowest. Be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day. You're building your home and building it with patience, love, and commitment. And this will enable you to build something that won't suddenly fall down. The second thing you can do is open your Bible, Torah, or Quran and read a verse or two. And when you're going through difficult times, you can find a verse in the Bible that will lift you spiritually, giving you the strength and power to continue your day, to change your mood, and to give you or restore your hope. This needn't take long. Whatever verse you think you need to read that one, as this will be the Lord directing you. Think about the verse throughout the day, about what it means and how you can apply it to your life. One parent, Sarah, told me she was having a difficult time with her son, Mark, aged 4, who was really demanding of her time. She wasn't sleeping well, which was having a negative impact on her mood. She felt herself getting increasingly angry with every word and behavior, grating on her every nerve. And then one day, Sarah lost it, began criticizing her son and shouting out at him. Afterwards, she regretted what she'd done. And in her quiet moments of reflection and prayer, she opened her Bible and she saw that she was in Ephesians chapter 4. And her eyes drew to verse 24, which said, "Be angry and do not sin, and do not let the sun go down on your wrath." She knew immediately that it was guidance for her in her situation with her son, Mark. She read it, took the message, and reflected for a few moments on what she needed to do, not to let the sun go down with her in this stage of anger, and apologized to her son, explaining that she didn't have much time to sleep, or even that he was difficult sometimes, that she would never do that again. Sarah asked Mark, "Why do you behave like this? It makes me so mad, and I don't know what to do to help you." To which Mark replied, "Mummy, I like it when you do things with me. And when I do good things, you don't know that I'm here." And from that moment, Sarah started talking with Mark in a way that they'd never spoken. From that day onwards, their relationship changed. Sarah vowed that she'd never shout and critique Mark again since that day. Yes, there have been times when she feels angry, but what she read that day, "Do not sin," conveyed an important message to her to model good behavior to her son. In this chapter, we have looked at ways that we can maintain our new life, our new way of life, and gain strength in times of weakness when we're wondering, "Oh, why did I start doing all of this in the first place?" In times like these, look at the beginning of the book where you wrote down how your life was and how you imagined your life to be. Compare your life to how it was at the beginning and be thankful for all of the things that have happened during this. And in doing this, you will see the progress that you have made, which in turn will give you space and room for further change. Also, acknowledge yourself for the change that you are in creating and for the great job that you're doing. So now we've come to the end of chapter 8, and this is the book, Runs in the Family, that I am reading from. And I just want to explain a little bit about the rationale. Why did I write this? When we started mentoring and training mentors to support families and children in the community, I saw common behaviors of teenagers. And I saw that the way that the parent, sometimes because the parent was stressed or anxious, their young person was copying their behavior. And I saw that this could have been avoided if 10 years beforehand, that the parent had put in place certain types of behavior to help them manage their own well-being, as well as modeling to their child. And in seeing that, this book is for a young parent. When I say a young parent, a parent that has recently had a child, and they're looking at developing their emotional intelligence and being a role model for their child. And so, yeah, so this is the book, Runs in the Family. So so the next chapter is chapter 8, and in chapter 8 I will be looking at other ways that we can put our word in place, having those sanctions and being our word and saying what we mean and being consistent and having consistent boundaries, and any obstacles that might stop us from going in the way. So this here is the content. We've read down to, let's see if I can get it right. We are here, so we're nearly finished, and we have 2 chapters left. And so we will do that in the final video of Runs in the Family. So thank you for watching the 3rd video of Runs in the Family. Thank you for watching videos 1 and 2 and being with me in this journey as I read through and generate the book that I wrote. It's really interesting because I want to update this book for post-pandemic. A lot of the young people that were involved in the lockdown, like around secondary school age, they're now taking their GCSEs and getting ready to go into society. So I'm writing a follow-up book. So it's really great to be able to read and be with what was going on then in Julian Campbell Foundation and what we're experiencing with our young people in the world then, what's happening now. So we can update the book. So thank you for watching this video. And in the next video, we'll be completing reading the book, Runs in the Family. And if you've got any questions or any suggestions, please do write them down below in the comments. And also as well, please do subscribe in our station, because it's our desire we want to live in a world where our children don't think of suicide as an option. A world where our children are free and happy, a world where children and our young people do not act on a temporary emotion, for them to see that emotions are temporary and not make a permanent action for a temporary emotion. So thank you again for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much.